So I had a brief weed thought. No weed, just thought. I was watching a video and this guy's discussing, or he's on the portion of the video and he's talking about children today, and how they are affected and they have, all these difficulties and what they've experienced, what they've been exposed to. And, I feel like every generation always talks about how children of that time have all these issues, right? And I feel like that's a general thought. Like, if we go back in history, they say if you want to know about the future, you gotta know the history. And in just the period of time that I've lived in, I feel like I've always seen the cycle of conversations constantly being had. And one of those is children of today. So now that I am 31 years old, I don't know what children of today is technically is. Like, I don't know what age group that is. But for me, children of today, what I would say, maybe starting out from college, so that's like 18 to like 22 and down, because they're still technically, they're still children, they're still babies, they're still young adults. I know a lot more children of today that are in college, living on campus. Like, I could not figure out how to do that. Like, I wanted to go to college and live on campus, but once I figured out we couldn't afford it, it was just like, oh, that dream is gone. And so the kids today, I would say they don't have all these issues that people saying they have. Like, yes, they have been exposed to many things, but many of these things we've also been exposed to. Like, all of us. I know there's generations before me, like their parents would leave them in the house and they had to go and figure out things on their own. They was out in the world. Their parents didn't want them coming in and out of the house. So did my generation of parents, because they were raised by their generation of parents. But this generation of children, or this time period that we're actually in, there's not even a lot of children. Like, if you look at statistics, a lot of kids, there isn't a lot of kids. Like, this generation of people aren't having as many kids as prior to. So I would say there's a lack of actual children, and then there's an age gap. Some people are having children when they're in their 30s and 40s. So you're going to raise your child different when you're 30 or 40. You're not going to raise them the same if you're 18 and 20. Like, a lot of my age group of people, they tried to avoid getting pregnant in high school. There wasn't a lot of teen pregnancy like it would have been in my parents' generation. So there's a large age gap, and then a lot of people are having one child. I know so many people that have just one child or two children, as opposed to prior two generations, they were having four and five, and before them they were having six and eight. Like, the people were having more children. People are not having as many children there, and there's also an age gap in the children. So, and I think that we all know that technology has been a great source for these children and them growing and learning and developing things. But I think at first, prior to COVID-19, or just that whole time period that we were literally in the house for like 3 years, like, it was a couple years that we were actually locked in. And people that paid attention to the pandemic knew that it was coming before, and they did not believe it was going to be that serious. So people that were, I mean, they probably locked their kids in earlier than that. A lot of people started transitioning their kids to, to go to school from home. So, and I feel like before that, we were discussing how smart this generation of kids were, how advanced they were going to be, how, the toddlers that were picking up tablets and they were advanced and they knew how to work phones and all these things. Even when I was young, I remember people saying that, like, oh, you're an old soul. Even still now, I still hear that, like, oh, you're an old soul. Like, you've been here before. Children just have that ability. Like, they say that they come from the spirit realm before, like, obviously we all do, but they've had more experience being in the spirit realm than they have in the physical realm with us, because they're younger. So most times, I think most children are, been here before. Like, they've always had this sense of knowing. And with the advancement of technology, they've been able to adapt to this time period, in this realm quicker than older people that are, iPhone just comes out, you have to learn something new and all these other things. Whereas with the child, that's like their base level of information. So it's gonna be easier for them to adapt because they don't have to unlearn a old process, the old phone. They don't have to get used to old habits. So we were seeing how smart they are, how wise they are, how successful they were, and kids are becoming, were and now still are becoming entrepreneurs at younger ages. They're graduating colleges. Some of them are skipping colleges and becoming successful millionaires. And then pandemic happened, and I think it kind of slowed down the social growth. And I think I keep saying that's an important part of being human. I like human or mankind, like us having interactions with each other is very important. And kids going to school from home. Not to say that they can't, venture out and have experiences with, if you have a kid that goes to school from home or homeschool, you can take them to, science camps or just events that you would do if you was in school and they would take you out. You can still do that with children and have them interact. And some schools have online courses, but when there's time for them to do things, they come with other kids that live, work from home or whatever. But I think the pandemic affected them in a different way. Yes, but they've been exposed to the same things we've been exposed to, and some more. But some of their base information is high tech, is newer. So of course they're gonna be advanced. But I don't think it's something that we should just keep saying something wrong. Like we all have, if we want to know what's wrong, I think the best thing would be is to actually ask the children to see what is wrong. Like if you feel like there's something wrong with the generation, talk to the generation, see what it is. And I think it's usually something social, something that those social interactions that they long for, that they need, especially with a lot of the kids being online and being in these rooms on these webcams and things like that. Like I know my brothers used to be always on these computers, so it's not nothing new, but I think that it was a very large portion of their childhood and adulthood, and something that they've learned how to make money from. So it's seemed like it's their whole world at the same time. Whereas at a certain point, my generation, they realize, oh, I have to come off the computer and come out the room and get a job. Now these kids are like, I can make money from here. So it's totally different, but I think that it's not necessarily the struggles that we all learned. Like we all was exposed to porn. Some of us was left in the house. Like, while parents had to go to work. Like that shit still happens. It's gonna continue to happen. Y'all, you have to understand. There's still people that are poor that can't have babysitters, that have to work all hours of the night. Like that shit is still happening. I keep saying that people think when you get money, like when they get money, that poverty ends. Like, no, there's still people with no TV, my nigga. Like, there's still people with no carpets. There's still people with mattresses on the floor. Like, these things still exist. Just because you have a bed in the house does not mean that that sense of living does not exist. I don't know. I just want to do a brief discussion on that. So what's a weed thought? No weed, just thought. Nothing sparked. Only other conversation, other comments sparked this thought in my head that's like, that's not what's wrong. These kids need social interaction. They need companionship. If anything, they need companionship, social interaction, and conversation. That was taken from them during the pandemic, and that's something that we still overlook, even though we discuss it. That was really what happened. But I don't think that they're behind. I don't know.